y'all.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Edwonda White.
And I'm Margot Evans.
And I'm Rochelle Truby.
And we are Three Black Girls Talking. Three Black Girls Talking is a show where just three friends that have been knowing each other for years and years and years, we just sit around and talk about crazy stuff. And today we're going to talk about something serious. We're going to talk about education. Now, the Black community has been talking about this for years and years on if someone has a college degree, what does that mean these days? You know what I mean? Lately, people have dropped out of colleges, or they have had to have their daughters or sons come back home, and they're paying all this money and they're just taking classes online. So I want to talk about how important is higher education. Most people have like a diploma from high school, but then we have some people who have a regular Bachelor of Arts degree, and then we have people who went for their master's, doctorate, and we have some students that come home that have graduated from college and then still can't find a job. Now, I believe I'm a firm advocate of education because knowledge is power. But there are more different forms of college. There's more different forms of education. And there's more different forms of the way that you can make it in life. So let's talk about those. I'm going to start with Margot. How important these days in 2020 is higher education, like getting a doctorate or a master's or even your college degree these days? How do you feel about that?
I think back in the days, it was really relevant for us to get the highest education that we needed in order to be able to get the jobs that we wanted, especially as blacks. I'm sorry, I didn't mean like black people, because we needed that piece of paper to prove that we were whatever in our field, the best in our field or whatever. But now in 2020, there are so many different avenues, as you said, that we can utilize to educate ourselves in whatever genre or whatever field that we are going into. I have my master's degree in human resources, but I didn't need my master's degree in human resources. I've been working in human resources for about 20 years now. Back then, I did need it. Now, experience. If you have the experience working in human resources, you can come in as a lower level HR person, but you can still come in at a good rate of pay without the degree, but the experience. So it's a lot of money for this tuition that you have to pay, the tuition and these loans that you have to pay. I still owe on my student loans. How much I owe, let me just tell you, I can own a mansion, a Hummer, and maybe a plane.
For all that you owe, for everything you owe. Oh, okay, yeah. I hear you.
And it's right. Not. When you think about it, like that in money, it's not worth it. I'm not making that much to pay that. You know what I'm saying? It's not equivalent to what I'm making. What I owe is not equivalent to what I'm making.
But could you have gotten your job if you didn't have your degree?
Not back then. I couldn't.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
20 years ago, I couldn't. You had to have that degree. It was no way. There wasn't the experience. You had to have your degree to prove that you were an expert in your field. But I think that it should be a choice for our children if they decide to go to school, for them to go to school. A lot of parents push their children to go to school and they're not ready. And so don't waste that money sending them, pushing them to school. Don't waste that money when they're not ready. I didn't go to school right out of high school. I wasn't ready. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't go to school until I was an adult. I had my job and I figured out exactly what it was that I wanted to do. Then I went to school. So it's not for everybody. I don't know. What do you say, Shelley? Because you have children that's school age.
Well, I have different thoughts on it. When you think about going to school, college, and someone having a college degree, you feel like they should get a better job. But sometimes people have college degrees and they're not getting the jobs that they even went to college for. They're not even going to school. But I'm a firm advocate on going to college. I think that college, not even just to go for a job, is for yourself. I went to got my degree for myself, and this one time when I was at work, one of my coworkers had told me, "Oh, well, you have your degree, but you're not even working, making that much money, and you're not even working." But I didn't go to college to make money. I went to college for myself. It was self-fulfillment. It was knowing that I took the time, the discipline to get a degree, and I feel good about my self for that. But I was working at my job for 25 years, and I had got laid off last summer, and I was looking for a job, and I thought that because I had my master's degree, it was going to open a lot of doors. And honestly, it really didn't open a lot of doors for me as far as getting a job. But then the job that I ended up getting, I took a big pay cut. It was a half a salary pay cut. But I feel like if I didn't have that degree, I wouldn't have got the job. They did say they did feel that I was overqualified, but because I had my degree, I got the job. And, I didn't start off at the amount of pay that I think that I deserve, but I mean, I got a job. And I've seen this on Facebook before, people making little jokes and stuff saying jobs want you to have your master's degree, but want to start you at minimum wage, and it's a lot. This is what I believe that the industry looks for. If they feel like you took the time to go to college, then the person is a well-rounded person. Like, you took the time to go and get your bachelor's, your master's, your PhD. It's a well-rounded person. Now, you may not get the job making six figures right away, but I feel like the job I got is an entry level. It's an entry level job, but I'm gonna work my way up. I'm gonna promote myself in that company, and so I feel like after maybe 5 years, if I'm still there, I'll be back to what I was making, or even close to it, God willing. And I think having the college degree, it does help as far as like when you're learning on the job courses. Like when I go to take training classes, it helps me because I've already gone to college, and I had to read and study and learn like that. So it helps with the classes. But on the flip side of it, college is not for everyone. I do agree with that, but you should at least try to get the trade. Try to learn something to do. College may not be for everyone, but try to at least take a trade, and that's what I try to instill in my kids. And my oldest son, he didn't go to college right out the bat. He went to trade school. He's got his massage therapy license, and then he decided he wanted to go back to school, but that's because he wanted to go to school. I didn't push him, and sometimes I feel like when parents push their kids to go to school, it's more so that they have something to brag about, because I've seen it probably about 95% of the time that the kids will go away to college and they only end up doing a year because they go out there, they end up on academic parole. They want to party and hang out because their first time of being without their parents, and they come back and the parents are ashamed. But don't be ashamed about that, because the kid just wasn't ready. So to me, I love the JC system. Start your kid off at a JC, and then they can work their way up to the 4-year college. If that's not the kid that's ready. So I mean, there's a lot of things that I do feel about the school. We'll probably be on here for an hour or 2 hours to talk about it. But I do agree that we should get some form of education after we finish high school. What are your thoughts, Edwonda?
My true thoughts are, I am always a huge advocate of education, period. I feel that the more we know, the more powerful we become as a people. Now, education comes in many forms. Just because you went to Harvard, or you went to Princeton or Yale, or you went to a great HBCU, shout out to Hampton and to Howard and to Morehouse and Spelman and things like that, who are educating great doctors, great lawyers, and they have a plan. Now, there are some people who teach their children that only hang around with people who have a degree and they're being all bougie and trying to be separatists. I don't believe in that, because just because you didn't graduate from a university doesn't mean that you're not an educated person. There are some people in our community that are what is called erudites. They can read a book, or they can read things from Google and really retain this information and really be an expert on a lot of subjects. And they can quote Nietzsche, and they can quote William Shakespeare and Aristotle and all the rest of the great philosophers, and Socrates and whoever. And they have never been to college at all. Now, there are some young people who belong in college and they don't have the money or the opportunity or the resources to get into those universities. And I feel that that's a very, very sad thing, because some people belong there. College is not all about the learning. College is about the connections that you make from the university that you go to. That's why the people who graduate from Harvard are successful, not because they went to Harvard, it's because of who they're going to school with.
Right.
If you know what I'm saying? If your roommate is the guy who donated the doggone library at Harvard, then where do you think you're going to be? You're going to be successful because you're already in the mix. So a guy like, say if Barack Obama had not gone to Harvard, he still would have been successful. But guess what? The connections that he made from that alma mater to be an African-American man who is the president of the law review. Okay. The president now, not the Black Law Review,
Right.
the Law Review, period. Okay. Hello, thank you very much. I'm just saying, you ain't no joke doing that. I don't care if you black, white, green, or purple. Okay. So by making those connections, by going to a major university, when I went to college with Rochelle, and she's my college friend, and Rochelle introduced me to Margot. So friends become friends because of what they have in common. She and I went to, I ain't gonna say our school, okay? And it was really no black people there. We knew every black person that went to our school. We went to a really private, very expensive, prestigious private college together. And we became friends because we were roommates, and we became close because we were black. Okay. She ended up finishing somewhere else. I graduated from there. I could have gone on. I was working towards an MSW because I wanted to go into social work. Initially, I was pre-med because I wanted to be a doctor. Then while I was in undergrad, I ended up changing my major because, like you said, I was young. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I said pre-med because it sounded impressive, and I thought I was going to be a doctor. Then I took one biology class where we had to go to the morgue and unzip the bag and start a thing, and it was over for me. I was like, I can't do this. This is not for me. If I got to do, you know what I'm saying? This is a real true story. I could not make this up. Let me tell you something. I was like, that's not for me. I got to find another major. But when you leaving for college and everybody giving you all this money, oh, my baby going to college, she pre-med. It sounds good that she's going to be a doctor, but it's different when you got to go to school for all that stuff and know those medicines and know the terms and open up body bags and seeing people die and stuff like that. Then you change your mind. I think education, no matter where it comes from, is a great thing. If you know that you're a nurse and you just want to be maybe an LVN, there's vocational schools where they specialize specifically in that, and you can, and they cater to the hospitals that they filter into. I know a lot of young ladies who are nurses and they're LVNs, but then now they raise the money so they can go to nursing school. And so then now they can get their RN or become a nurse practitioner or go into medical school, and they didn't have to cause their family a financial hardship. Now, let me explain that education for the Black community is different than it is for the white community. That means something different. For example, Mark Zuckerberg, he went to Harvard and dropped out. Now, some people go like, well, he's successful and he dropped out and look at him. Okay, first of all, he white. Second of all, he was already rich when he went to Harvard.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So he wasn't tripping no way.
Right.
Joe broke behind, sitting up there, what you ain't going to do and dropping out. That's different. Okay? He made different life choices. He's not a college dropout, okay? Right. He decided that that's not what he wanted to do. That's different, okay? With us, we have to choose education to provide a better life for our family. You can't, with just a high school diploma, what you gonna be doing? You
No.
know, I'm not clowning nobody who has a regular job, because thank goodness for those people who have regular jobs, who feed their families and make an honest living and don't choose to do something illegal because someone else of what they might think about what you do for a living.
Right.
Okay. But those who have the opportunity to go to college, those who have scholarships, those who have good grades and they're able to do that, be proud of those young people. Be proud of those students and root them on. And I hope they get their degrees and go on to get their master's degrees and get their doctorates and write great dissertations and all of that. Because we do need more of those prominent type of people who are running for political office, who are the head of neurology at different hospitals and things like that. Why can't it be us? Okay, I encourage that. But I also say that there are several ways that you can make it in life. And just because you don't have a degree doesn't mean that someone else is better than you.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Right.
education important? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is higher education important? Yes. Should it be the goal? We don't know. It's your personal choice of what you want to be in life. If you want to be a college professor, then yes, you have to get your degree. If you want
Right.
to be a doctor, then yes, you have to be your degree. Now, if you're just going to work and work in the community and this and that, or if you want to open a business, it's always best to go to business school so that you know what you're doing. However, do you need a business degree to open a business? No.
No.
What you need is a great idea and great backing. Does it help you? Yes. So education, let's not say we don't need to go to college. Let's stop going to college. That's not what we're saying.
Mm-hmm.
We're saying the choice is yours.
Yeah.
And we're saying just because you can't go to college, that is no excuse for you to say, I can't be successful now. Because we know so many people that have never been to college that are very, very successful in what they do. And I'm not just talking about athletes and entertainers and rappers. I'm talking about people who created apps. The guy who created the Super Soaker and made millions of dollars, he was already an engineer. He was already an engineer, and his son was getting water guns squirted on him by his neighbors or friends that was playing around. And he said, Daddy, how could I, squirt them from across the street? And him being an engineer, he drew up the plan of how the pressure of the water could squirt it at a further distance. So he was able to run up to the boys, get them across the street. And they was like, oh, how you do that? I want one of those. Dang, that's tight. And his father, but if his father wasn't an engineer,
Right.
he wouldn't have been able to say, according to the rule of aerodynamics, right? Because he was already kind of like smart, and he made more money doing that than ever. For example, George Foreman. George Foreman was a boxer for many, many years and was very successful, but he made way more money doing what? The George Foreman wheel. Okay, you see what I'm talking about? See what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
You never know what it's going to be, but guess what? He had an idea. He took it. He was able to get his patents. He's changed the grill so many times, and I bought the grill a bunch of times. The first the plate slid out and all that. So education is very important, but education means educating yourself. Look, for example, at Serena and Venus's father. He wasn't a very articulate man. He couldn't speak very well, but he read a book about tennis. He read and he studied and he taught his daughters how to play tennis from reading a book. No lie, I could not make this up. He did not go to college. And if you speak to him now and have an interview, I think he's not really doing well now. But at the time, he had sense enough to understand what he read in that book. And he got his daughters, start teaching them how to hit that ball, what the rules of the game were, and that's what you need to know. When you learn, when you educate yourself, you are teaching yourself the rules of the game. And the rules of the game are educate yourself, never stop learning. And those people who think that they know everything are the most ignorant people in the world. Because the most intelligent people in the world and the smartest people in the world are the people that realize that they don't know everything. Boom. Now, so on final words, education is very important. It's your choice. But we're going to close out with Margot on her final words. Is education good? Is higher education required? What do you say, Margot?
I think education is good, and I think higher education is required depending on what the field you want to go into. Like you described, if you want to be a doctor, then you need higher education. But then the same thing as Rochelle said, there are trade schools. If you don't know exactly what you want to do, or you do know exactly, maybe you want to be a plumber. It's okay to be a plumber, make money. You will go to a trade and make money. So you want to go to a trade school and learn how to be a plumber. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. However you get your education, as long as it's legal, as long as however you get it is great. It's not a one way, one stop. The only way you can do it if you go down this road. No. However you need to get it, get it. But you're gonna need something in life in order to survive and be take care of your family and do whatever it is that you need to do. So it is a good thing. It is definitely a good thing. Rochelle?
Yes, I agree with Edwonda. Learning is power. So anytime that you can just learn anything, like we were saying, you don't have to go all the way up and get your doctorate and PhD, be a lawyer. But if you go to school and you learn a trade, or you read and you study, and you'll become something that you really want to be, just like going to school and taking a trade or anything, And I'm not knocking people that have jobs. We need those essential workers, the grocery store and fast food or clothing retail. Just be the best that you can be, and just read and study, and you can promote yourself within your company. Do your job well, be on time, and be a good steward at your job, and you can move up in the company. There's plenty of people that start in the companies that started at the bottom and work their ways up to management. So, I mean, the choice is yours. You just have to take that challenge and challenge yourself. What's your final thoughts, Edwonda?
I want to say that education is very important in every community, but specifically in the African American community. But however, I still will say that just because you have a degree or just because you have a doctor in front of your name does not make you better than any other person. And that's the only problem that I have with some people who are in a particular setting, who feel that because they have 5 degrees or have a certain thing in front of their name, that makes them better. They are wrong about that. Because there are some people, we have Black people out there that are creating apps. We have Black people out there that are coding, that are, having their own businesses, having their record companies, having sports agencies and all these things. And some of those people have never been to college in their life. So it's all about your choices. Continue to educate yourself in whatever way you can. Do not put financial strain on your family just because you feel like, well, somebody said I need to go to college. Well, if you're not college material and you're not ready, then take a few classes, start off and say, oh, I can do this. And then maybe start applying for a scholarship so you can get some things to pay for these aspirations that you have. Education will always be important to our community because the more you know, the more power you have. That's why when we were enslaved, they never wanted us to read. Why did they not want us to learn how to read? Because if you can't read, then you don't know what's going on. If you can't comprehend, then you cannot figure out what someone's doing to you. You cannot read a contract. These guys who are rappers, these guys who are athletes, these guys who are whatever. If you cannot read the lingo, the party of the second part, the party of the third part, first part, this and that, you could be signing over your whole firstborn to somebody because you don't know what the party of the nothing part is. Okay. So guess what? You better educate yourself in the things that you desire in your heart, whether that's higher education and being Dr. So-and-so, or whether it's just a brother that read and studied up on contracts and how these things work. You can educate yourself in so many ways and never stop learning. Ladies and gentlemen, we are 3 Black Girls Talking, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
3 Black Girls Talking.